Welcome to Wisconsin in Focus. I'm Bruce Walker, Great Lakes Regional Editor for the Center Square. Well, it's another year and another university tuition hike. And here to talk to me about that is Wisconsin correspondent Benjamin Yound. Let's talk about what is looking like another tuition hike. And I should check myself on that because there really hasn't been a tuition hike for quite some time. Is that correct for the UW system?
In Wisconsin, you're right. In Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin was forbidden from raising tuition for the better part of a decade, 13 years, so more than a decade. But you are correct in the big sense of another year, another tuition hike, because you got to get in the Wayback Machine and go back to 2013 when the tuition hike first was put into place. And the University of Wisconsin was raising tuition almost every single year. And so that's the reason why Wisconsin lawmakers, the Republicans under Governor Walker, instituted a mandated freeze. They simply said, no, you cannot, by law, raise tuition. Former Governor Tommy Thompson, who, by the way, saved the university from itself, was able to work with lawmakers, work with the university. He got that tuition freeze lifted, and then 2 years later, bing, bang, boom, tuition's going up 5%. But as we wrote this week, the president at the University of Wisconsin is framing this not as a higher cost for students, but an investment in Wisconsin.
Yes, I think your exact quote is the president at the University of Wisconsin bends the school's 5% tuition hike as necessary to win a war for talent. So I take it from that he means that he has a financial war chest that he can use to attract the best of the best to the faculty and administration of the university.
This is the argument you get from university after university. And I heard this from the University of Illinois. I've heard this from the University of Wisconsin. I've had to write the stories in Minnesota. The University of Minnesota says the same thing. All universities believe that if they can just pay their people more, then they'll get the best of the best, and that will help students. Whether or not that is the case, there are lots of different numbers that show lots of different things. But the UW president, Jay Rothman is his name, spoke to the Rotary Club in Milwaukee this week, and he said, look, Wisconsin has a population problem. We're simply not growing. That is 100% true. We've been about 6 million people for years now. Wisconsin's working age population is getting older, and not enough young people are having babies to replace people. We've written story after story at the Center Square about Wisconsin's workforce and labor shortages and workforce and labor challenges. And what Rothman said is, look, in order for the University of Wisconsin to produce the, as he put it, engineers, data scientists, teachers, nurses, etc., there needs to be an investment that the university has to be able to meet the need to teach these people, and they need to pay their professors and faculty members in order to do that. Now, just an aside, we talked earlier about building new buildings on the University of Wisconsin campuses. This tuition increase is earmarked almost exclusively for teacher pay raises. That this is not so much to build something or go buy new computers for the Fab Lab. This is mainly to pay the people who currently work at the university more or hire new people at higher salaries. But Rothman framed this in the sense of when you look at what the economy is becoming, an information technology driven economy, that Wisconsin is going to need to find a way to take high school students, get them UW degrees in fields that are in demand, and then keep them here in Wisconsin. And that's a challenge. How that is directly related A to B to C to charging students more for one more semester at UW Parkside, well, he gets to make that case.
Tuition at Wisconsin's other campuses currently range from, I think you wrote $6,000 at Platteville and Parkside, and it's $9,500 at UW Milwaukee. And will the schools still be affordable? Okay, it's one thing to bring in the talent, but if you price yourself out of the market for your top customers, how does that work?
you almost have to strip the University of Wisconsin-Madison out of this conversation. UW-Madison for in-state students is still very affordable in the grand scheme of things. Right now, it's a little under $11,000 per year in just tuition. Now, room, board, meals, books, all of that is extra, but $11,000 in tuition is very affordable compared to most Big Ten universities. When you get to the other campuses, and the University of Wisconsin system has some very, very small campuses. Platteville, for example, has just a few 1,200, 1,300 type students. And so $6,000 for an education there versus $11,000 for an education at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, that's a difference. The other difference is that you have an awful lot of out-of-state students, like your child, who want to go to the University of Wisconsin. If you drive by the parking lots near campus, you see just as many Illinois license plates as you do license plates from the state of Wisconsin. Those students are paying about $30,000 a year in tuition. There's also the international students. That drives costs up because the university can charge almost essentially whatever it wants, and there is a demand. There's not so much a demand for kids from China or from Illinois to go to the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. So when you talk about is the school affordable, you have to break away the other campuses from UW-Madison and to a certain degree UW-Milwaukee. Now, Rothman's point is that even with the 5% tuition increase, even taking UW-Madison from just under $11,000 a year for tuition to just over $11,000 a year for tuition, he says that they did a study that shows they are the most affordable university in the Midwest. Now, there are a lot of technical, the most affordable university in the Midwest. That doesn't necessarily mean it is affordable for all families. One of the other things is that the University of Wisconsin has been very, very good at trying to find financial aid for lower income students. We'll talk about graduation rates in a moment, but there is an awful lot of financial aid. So when you say, is a University of Wisconsin degree affordable? In the macro sense, absolutely. I went to Illinois State University back in the mid-90s, $10,000 for 4 years. Now, if you pay full freight, you're paying almost $30,000 a year. So $6,000 at UW Parkside is very affordable compared to that. The difference is, where are the students coming from? And this gets us back to fewer high school graduates, fewer kids going to college. And as Rothman pointed out, this new Wall Street Journal survey that said an awful lot of people, including people who went to college, don't think a college degree is worth the cost.
That goes to the question of what is the value for your investment? What is the return on the investment? You know, we both attended college, and I think we both see that there was tremendous value to be had for the investment that we made. Has that really changed since then?
Rothman talked a little bit about this, and he offered the line that you often hear in this kind of a debate, that the data unequivocally supports the idea that if you go to college, you will make more money than if you don't. And that used to be a universal truth. There are, however, some caveats. And I'm at this point in my life because I have a son who's graduating from high school. I've got a daughter who's still in junior high, and I've got 2 kids who went off to the service and got their degrees that way. That if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a mechanical engineer, something that is going to pay you money, and you know that, and you want to go and you can do the work, then absolutely the cost of college is an investment into your future. But even at $6,000 a year for 4 years, maybe 5, you have to start to question as to, okay, well, what's the job you're going to do? Because these costs are more real now than they were 20 years ago. And young people getting out with substantial amounts of student loan debt, it does hinder them.
Listeners can keep up with the story and more at thecentersquare.com. I'm Bruce Walker, Great Lakes Regional Editor for the Center Square. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.